What's up, everybody? PG Braun here, president of Blackstone Labs, and I'm here with Gennifer Strobo. You guys have already seen a few videos of Jen, and I wanted to get her into the gym today at Busybody Fitness, the East location, who's always so kind enough to let us shoot. And this is going to be a really educational video because we see so many things that we don't like when we watch people train their shoulders. And Jen has amazing shoulders. She has not even competed in 2 years. Looks like she's competing tomorrow. So I'm actually staying out of this video, and I'm gonna have her give her tips for shoulder trainings that, male or female, you're gonna learn a lot from. And we're gonna go and do it now, and I'm turning it over to her.
Let's go do this. We're just gonna talk about hitting every part of your muscle, capping off those shoulders so you get that nice big 3D definition that you're wanting on stage or just walking around the beach. And I'm gonna show you a lot of the things that I see, like he said, men and women doing wrong. You know, slumping over, using the wrong muscles, incorporating too many other muscles, or trying just to swing that big heavy weight.
Awesome, so we're getting inside, we're gonna do it right now.
Let's go. All right, so I like to warm up and do one of my first sets when I begin shoulders with rear delts because I really want to exhaust this out a little bit so I can focus on capping off my side delt and that I'm not engaging this or even my upper back. A lot of things I see people do on the rear delt, even on the pec deck, is they're hunching over, and so they're just, when they go all the way back, they are engaging their traps, upper back muscles, and you're not really getting that little rear delt muscle. The rear delt is a tiny muscle and you're not going to be able to move a ton of weight with it, but you definitely want to get bigger rear delts so that you create that 3D roundness in your shoulder. There are two ways you can do this, and you want to see which way you feel best in it. You can hold the grips just as you see on the machine. Lean forward, keep your chest nice and high. And you want to stop right about here, right in line with your body. There's no point in going all the way back because then you just squeeze all your upper back muscles. So go nice and slow and make sure you're feeling your rear delt. If you start to feel tension in your neck, try to look up or even tuck your chin. Another way you can do it, depending on how you feel it best, is to put your hands right on the bars. And that's gonna pronate your hands back. Keep your chest high always. And I like to do higher reps when I'm doing a small muscle group. Shoulders, any arms or anything like that. I like to do higher reps because you really want to keep the blood in there and get the blood flow in there. Sometimes on different machines, wherever you're at, you can stand up. Just make sure you keep your elbows up, and it's going to hit that rear delt in just a slight different way. Just make sure you don't overextend your arms and try to go all the way back.
What's cool is she's so lean, you can actually see her posterior delt engaging every time. So you can see how the focus is all right through here. Look at how separated and developed that is.
I like to stretch between sets on just about every muscle when I remember to do it, because I feel like it opens up your back, opens up your arms.
What I always tell people, that myself personally, I only stretch typically in between my sets, and I like to stretch in between my sets. I never stretch cold. Right. You never want to stretch cold. But I actually feel that staying loose in between your sets promotes blood flow for the upcoming sets going forward. Also, I think that the older that you get, you kind of need to stretch more anyway. That's something that I've noticed.
We need to stretch more as you get older, and we're not getting any younger. But as you get older, you need to stretch more. You're going to get more blood flow in that muscle, and it's actually going to help you grow even better. So between sets, if I just worked my rear delt, I'm going to pull my arms across, really stretch my rear delts out all the way through. I like to stretch my delts back. Any upper body movement, I always stretch between sets. I like to really pull my lats out when I'm doing back, and same with legs. You know, just try to stretch when you can, between every set, or you can stretch, after every exercise. Stretch that muscle out that you worked. It really promotes even more blood flow. Not every workout's the same, but so every workout I'm going to hit my side laterals, and I want to do side lateral movements. I like to use the cables as well as the dumbbells, and there are some different things that I like to do with them. I always do drop sets or some form of a giant set for side delts, because there are so many different ways you can do it, and it really burns the muscle. It just gets that blood flow in there and that burn and that pump. When I'm doing dumbbells, I like to do, what I'm going to show you is, I like to do half reps, really heavy, and then grab something super light and do full reps. So to be about 15 to 20 reps on the really heavy half reps, and then I'll do maybe just 10 reps or to failure of burning it out with the light weight. And there's a really cool cable set that I like to do as well, so I'm going to show you that. Okay, so first I'm going to start with the half reps heavier. And this is one of the things that I feel really built my side delts. My shoulders are not as strong as they look, but I always make sure that I use the right muscle. And you'll see with these half reps, there's no bend in my arm. My arms are straight down from my body, and my shoulders are locked back, so I'm not using my traps. I'm gonna do about 15 reps here. And then I'm gonna immediately grab much lower weight and burn it up. And these are gonna be my full reps. My arms are still very straight. I'm not using my whole body to move the weight. I'm using just that delt. And they should start burning really fast. But you get a really good pump in there, and it starts getting round after just your first set.
People in a lot of the videos, these young guys critique me so hard, and they're like, why would we train like you? Your shoulders are terrible. And I'm like, dude, I used to have amazing shoulders before I got lots of very, very bad injuries. But this is the way that I built the good shoulders that I had. Because people are always like, oh, he does too many reps, and all the giant sets and stuff. You can't grow that way. And that's actually what made me have the most growth when I was competing. So when somebody has really good shoulders, like you, and puts it out, people will listen to it the right way.
Yeah, I've always done, for shoulders, it's always been sets of 15, sets of 20, giant sets of 30, 40, depending. And even grabbing 5-pound weights and doing sets of 100. And just going until you feel like you can't breathe anymore. And it feels so light until you get about 50 or 60 reps in, and then you think you're dying. And it takes 1 to 2 minutes for the burn just to go away. Okay, so every workout's gonna be different, but you always wanna hit every cap of your every muscle in your shoulder cap. So you've got your anterior delt, your front delt, your side delt. This is another side delt, but it's a unilateral movement. I like to incorporate dumbbell and cable, and it's a giant set, so get ready for the burn. I try to do about 10 reps of side laterals with my dumbbell. I very rarely have any swing in my movements, and I keep my arm almost locked out just so I'm really using that side delt. And then I'm gonna put the dumbbell down. I've got the cable set right here where it's right at, if my arm is hanging straight, it's at that same level. I'm gonna do 10 like this. It's in front of my body. And that's already hurting. And then I'm gonna drop it all the way down to the bottom. on my body. And do 10 more. Like I said, it doesn't take a lot of weight to build that shoulder muscle. As you can see, I'm struggling now. And if you're not getting all the way to parallel with your body, it's fine, as long as you're using and engaging that muscle. A lot of times if you go beyond that, you're taking your entire shoulder out of it anyway. In talking to a lot of the judges on stage, one thing that a lot of women fail to do, especially women with implants, is they fail to do any chest. And it's not about doing full bench pressing, it's about doing that upper chest muscle. Because in speaking with several of IFBB Pro judges, you get what they call a shallow look here. So you've got this delt kind of protruding out, which rolls forward, and then you have nothing here because you do have the implants in your chest. So you do still need to work this upper chest to get that nice fullness all the way through here. So when I do shoulder presses, I never do them straight up. I do them on a slight incline bench so that I am pushing and using this muscle right here.
So we'll show everybody how to do that. Now, one thing to also take into consideration, some doctors, not as many, if you talk to them, some doctors for competitors will do implants over the muscle. And if you do the implant over the muscle, which is far less common, you can do pretty much whatever you want. Most of the time, they do the implant under the muscle, which is why most doctors will tell you not to train your chest. However, just like what Jen said, there is a way to stimulate this upper part of your chest a lot, specifically through an incline shoulder pressing type movements. There are some different fly type exercises that you can also do like that. And judges will tell you, you look shallow up there. So it's a very, very important tip. I sometimes think that maybe you guys don't want to listen to me because I'm a guy and I'm just talking about boobs. But Jen is a legendary coach that's probably coached many, many hundreds, if not maybe even 1,000 competitors over the years, which you guys will have heard about that in the podcast and whatnot already. So take her advice, and I'm gonna watch and see if she does hers the way that I do them now. But
I hope I do. When I'm shoulder pressing, it's not one of the exercises that I always do giant sets or super, super high reps. I like to start with something that's a moderate weight for myself and maybe try to get 15 reps. But then I do like to increase the weight on that. I have a lot more stability in that muscle that's incorporating a lot more of my shoulder. So I'm able to go a little bit stronger. My shoulders, I think I keep saying it, they're not that strong. I think the most I've ever pressed, one rep max, was a 40-pound dumbbell. And I just try to remind people it's not all about how strong you are in the gym, it's about what you're actually building and the look you're trying to go for. Unless you're a strong woman or trying to compete in that. You'll see that I'm on an incline bench, slightly leaned back. This way it's incorporating a little bit of my upper chest, anterior delt, and front delt. One thing I never do is I don't rest a ton between sets. The most I think I've ever rest is 1 to 2 minutes, and that's when I'm going for big heavy lifts, usually lower body. With upper body, I don't rest a ton unless it's a big underhand barbell row when you're doing back. Shoulders, definitely don't need to rest a whole lot. 30 seconds to a minute between sets are the most. You know, no phone calling, no texting. I just get right back into my next set after I stretch out a little bit. You never want to go so heavy that you don't have control over the dumbbells. If you throw out a shoulder, that's going to put you out of the gym for a long time.
because many people neglect the front delts because they get so much stimulation and so many other things, and other people do a lot of front delt work. I think if you have really underdeveloped front delts, then you can absolutely do them all the time. They get stimulation on chest, on bicep exercises, and on all your presses, but it is absolutely good to incorporate some front delt work, so demonstrate.
And when you're doing front delts, you actually are getting a little bit of your upper chest. As long as you're not going too heavy and too high to where you're using your entire upper cross, area. You've got your traps engaged, your upper back, because you don't want to build big traps. The last thing we want to see in a really pretty physique, men and women, that X frame, if you've got huge bulky traps, it takes away from the size of those shoulders and it takes away from the width of your back. But when I do front delt raises, when I'm using a barbell, I like to do it on a curl bar. And I like to actually put my pinkies upward on the rounded part right there. And you'll see that I go up, and I'm actually using my side delt, so it's not a ton of front delt, but I'm engaging my front delt with the side delt, and I go just to eye level. I do like to do drop sets on this as well. If you're trying to go too heavy and you're swinging, then you're just not using that right muscle. So you want to go nice and slow and steady. If I do a drop set with the barbell, and that's the smallest barbell they've got, because like I said, I'm not trying to go super heavy, I'll go grab 5-pound dumbbell or 5-pound plates or 5-pound dumbbells and rep it out just like that. But always pulling my pinky up a little high, so I'm hitting all of this shoulder area as well. If you're moving your arms right, it's all this and not just like pulling through here.
And what people have to understand is you have to use conservative weights to do these things the right way. Otherwise, you're just hoisting it around.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, because people still ask me, what do you do for your traps? What do you? I'm just trap dominant.
Yeah.
So I've had to make it a point my entire training career to lock my traps down and back. And that was something that we taught competitors forever as well, because so many women will hunch over when they lift and it's all right here, and they're not building that pretty physique right here, opening everything up.
Did you have good posture before you started competing?
Actually, not really.
Because you obviously have very good posture.
I think I have pretty good posture. It is something that you focus on all the time, keeping your core tight and keeping everything locked down and back. But I think posture comes through a couple of ways. One, I had scoliosis as a younger child, but I've actually corrected it through chiropractic, but as well as just lifting correctly and making sure that I'm using all the right muscles and always keeping everything back, never letting everything roll forward. But posture comes through confidence as well, and when you know you're lifting right and you start to create the physique that you want, you're going to raise your head higher, you're going to hold your shoulders back, stick your chest a little higher, and be confident.
All right, guys, so a lot of education in that video from Jen, and I hope that you guys learned a lot. What do you think?
I think it was fun. It was hard for me, and I do hope that you learned a little bit of something to help you make your shoulders even better.
And her GPS is going off in her pocket because we're going to the office now for more content. So we're going to say goodbye the same way I always do. Peace out, guys.